Hi everybody, welcome to the girls. I'm a happy camper because my daughter's home from Florida. And the kids are coming home from college.
Oh, that part's cool.
My babies.
We had a huge weekend actually because Mason's birthday.
Mother's Day.
Mother's Day. Both kids home from school and Bella home from school. So all the 3 kids are home from school. I'm in town.
I'm happy.
I'm in town. I mean, come on. And I'm only kidding. And then we have all these kids coming home, so it's like the transition. And moms out there know, especially moms,
Do you think
the transition.
Yeah, do you think they'll squeeze us in for an hour or two?
I don't know. We might have a sighting. I call it sightings.
The sightings, yeah. You have the sightings.
You get an hour here, an hour there. But it's going to be interesting because, you know, transition from college and then summer.
Who's getting an apartment?
Who's getting an apartment? Who's coming down to see us? So it's going to be nice.
I'm thrilled though because I think I'm going to be cleaning out some of my house of some of the excess furniture I have. So I said, don't shop anywhere till you see Nana. You know, come
so
over.
It's been that. It's been graduation. Everyone, I love seeing all of your prom pictures and graduation. I know one of my best friend's daughters graduated from Penn State, so we got to see that. So it's been nice. It's been transition. It's
yeah,
summertime.
everybody I know that I still picture their kids little and they're all off and graduating and doing great things.
Yeah. So we have a great show today that's talking about smoking. We can help you quit smoking. It's free, and you can try as many times as you want.
Well, we can help you smoke, but Pathways can help you
Right,
smoke.
Pathway to Recovery. But we, as the show, can help them learn how they can quit smoking. Parents, you want to tune in, or grandparents or guardians, because there are some dangers out there with this vaping and new forms of marijuana strengths.
Right, the
that we're gonna talk
marijuana is
about.
not the marijuana of the early
Your
days.
era,
Yeah,
right?
Of our era, it's strong stuff and
If
it is
you're
addicting.
40 or above, the marijuana that you use isn't the marijuana that kids are using now. So we're going to hear all about it, but it's very informative show that we have coming
Right,
up.
Eileen Panzarella from Pathways to Recovery will be with us. We'll be right back.
Well, less than 10% of the adult population now smokes. That's a good thing. We want that number to keep dropping, right?
Yes, we'd like to get it to zero.
Or close
smoking.
to it. That would be great.
Especially
Zero.
me. I'm such a person that's just, I cannot
We
stand
hate
any
smoke.
kind of smoke.
If you don't smoke, you understand it because you're sensitive. Someone could be smoking and they can be down the street, but you can smell it with the wind blowing. I'm like, who's smoking? But our guest, and she's doing a great job, Eileen Panzarella, she's been on the show before. She is with Pathway to Recovery, and she's the prevention director. So Eileen, thanks for coming to the studio. I know we've gone into your place a couple times
Yes,
and did some education, but we wanted to have you back on because there's some new developments with how we're going to keep people safe, right?
Right.
So what is your quit smoking campaign that you do currently?
So we work with the American Lung Association, and we provide the Freedom from Smoking program, which is an American Lung Association program. And so we can offer this in person, we can do phone counseling, we can do Zoom sessions, however a person wants to attend. And it is free of charge. There's no cost. We don't run anything through the insurance. It's actually being paid for. Back in around 2000, there was a lawsuit against the tobacco industry, and it was called the Master Settlement Agreement, and that is actually funding the quit smoking program that we use. And we can also, we're lucky that we can also give nicotine replacement therapy, so patches, gum, lozenges, all at no cost.
All the support that anyone needs. So if you're a smoker and you want to quit and you have an excuse for it, you have the solution. You have the assistance for them. They don't have to pay. You have the counseling. You have all the aids. You have the steps how to do it. Is it good to quit smoking cold turkey, or does that affect your body?
I mean, if someone can do it, that's how they want to do it, that's great. We kind of meet people where they're at. We find that, I think more research says more men can do it cold turkey than women, and that, so I'm not really sure. I just think maybe because women, we seem to put others before ourselves all the time, right? So maybe that's why.
And we're more emotional.
Maybe. and that, you know, with things. So, but another thing is, like, if they've tried before and they failed, try again.
Oh, yeah.
And that you have to keep trying. And on average, they say it takes 8 attempts.
Wow.
Before it actually, something clicks and it works.
So where is your area of coverage that someone, if they have a concern that they want to quit smoking, they just call and they could get help?
Right, they could just call us, and we actually serve 6 counties: Luzerne, Wyoming, Columbia, Montour, Northumberland, and Sullivan counties.
Okay.
But if they're outside that county and they call, we know who's the provider in those other counties.
So there's help throughout the state?
The whole state has help.
That is
yes.
so great. So, I mean, smoking to begin with, I don't have many friends who smoke, but those who I know to smoke, what is it, $4 for a pack of cigarettes?
No, try 10, I think it is
No.
now.
Yes,
It's 10?
$10.
$10 a pack.
Yeah, and some it could be 11 or 12 for some of the name brands.
I was
So that's
shocked,
like
too.
lunch.
Yeah. Yes.
Lunch.
Oh, yeah, really.
That's like, save that $10, or some people smoke 2 packs a day, so you put that money in a piggy bank, and I want to tell you what you could buy at the end of the year.
Yes.
Not only that, but how about the health benefits?
Yes.
I mean, there's so many health benefits from quitting smoking. And also, if they have children, so, you know, not only the adults that are smoking, but they have children in the house, the children with secondhand smoke.
Right.
Secondhand smoke, as we know in the medical society, that is just as harmful, if not more harmful.
Yes.
And it causes plaque buildup in their arteries.
Yeah, there's the tar that's from anything combustible produces tar. And there's a lot, like, you know, the carcinogens, there's a lot of dangers there.
Are
And
cigarettes made differently today than they were years ago?
there's a lot more additives that they add, and we don't even know because there's no ingredient list on a pack of cigarettes.
No, it's the way they're
There's
processed,
no regulations?
There's not regulations that they have an ingredient list that we could see exactly what's been added to the cigarettes and the processing, what's sprayed on the paper, and as they're growing the tobacco. So there's a lot of things that we don't even know.
Right, so there could be insecticides, there could be
Yes,
chemicals, there could
yes.
be processing and all the other things, and then who knows where they are. I mean, where they're coming from.
So I feel bad for people who are addicted to smoking because once you start, and then it's like, oh, you want to quit, but from the people I talk to, it's very addicting.
Well,
It's probably, yes, the most addicting drug that we know. It's very addicting. And the companies knew what they were doing. They knew that nicotine was addicting, and that's why all our funding comes from a lawsuit against the cigarette companies, because it was actually proven in that lawsuit that they knew it was addicting, and they were adding more nicotine to the cigarettes and adding things like ammonia to make your lungs open more, so you got more nicotine.
And they have a high feeling. How about people who chew? Can you also help them?
Yes, we could help them too.
Cigar smokers, any kind of smoking.
Yes, vaping, even vaping, we can help.
Is cigar smoking just as bad as cigarette smoking?
I mean, there are the risks. A lot of, still say, I don't inhale with cigars, but you're still getting the nicotine through the blood vessel openings in your mouth.
Okay.
And some of it is being inhaled. So there's risk with that too.
And it's absorbed in your mouth too. I know a lot of men who have had tongue and throat cancer and lip cancer from it.
Yes.
Because they would say, well, I just keep it in my mouth, I don't even light it. And they're sucking on that nicotine and swallowing it. And how about like snuff and chew and everything? They put in and stick it in their cheeks and they're swallowing that nicotine.
Right, and
like
there's a lot of
juice.
chemicals in there as well. And now there's Zyn pouches, which are just like they're nicotine pouches, and we're seeing that more popular with some of the younger guys. But I mean, nicotine is nicotine, and it's addicting, and then it could lead to smoking and other.
Well, it must be because it says may cause death. I mean, they have to put it now in the stores. It's just in bold letters, and people
it's on the cigarette pack.
Still coughing and buying them and coughing and buying more.
But that's to show you how addicting it is.
It is.
It's really addicting if you can't stop.
No.
So what are some of the things that you have for people who vape? How bad is vaping?
And that's very similar too, because it's nicotine again that they're getting. Okay. So we're dealing with, you know, their triggers. We go through like triggers, changing behaviors, because a lot of using nicotine is attached to a behavior, and that where you do it, you know, you eat, you have a cigarette, you get in your car, you do it.
How about a drink?
A drink, yes. So we talk about, you know, the behavior change during the program and give them other ideas and help them change their behaviors while they're still getting nicotine through the patch, the gum, and the lozenge.
Okay, so then does that decrease gradually?
And then, yes, as they get their behaviors under control, then we can decrease the nicotine. So it's a process. We're not asking anyone to quit in a week and that we're, you know, stretching it out. It's really an 8 to 10 week process.
And is it private? Is it one-on-one or is it a group?
It depends what they want. Some people want the group. They like the other participants and getting support and seeing what they're doing. So I have people who like groups and we run groups. And then I have people who be like, no, I just want it one-on-one.
When you think of, I think of someone watching at home thinking, you're talking to 3 non-smokers. So of course we're like, yeah, no smoking. But
well, wait a minute.
Some people have smoked.
I have to come out of the closet because years ago, I was always against smoking. I couldn't stand it. But when I started nursing school, it was a stressful time. And then we would go to parties. Everybody's smoking. So it's not that I followed the crowd, but my roommate and I, and she'll laugh if she sees this, we used to share a pack of cigarettes because we only took them to parties. And we'd hold a Virginia Slim cigarette. And we'd light it. But we didn't inhale, and we weren't addicted per se. But then gradually, as I got married and we went out and we were having, and that's why I mentioned the drink part, we'd go to a bar and everybody's smoking, so you're getting it in your lungs anyhow, and maybe you'd have a couple of drinks and someone would say, hey, you want a cigarette? And it was fashionable then, and I'd have maybe 1 or 2 cigarettes on the weekend.
Like a social
But then
smoker.
one day, my girlfriend developed breast cancer, and I took the pack of cigarettes I had in my freezer, and I threw them away. And my kids never saw me smoke. I never smoked in my home. But I just thought, why am I doing this? You know, you need a wake-up call, I think, at some point.
Yes.
So, yeah, but it's just a social smoker, I guess you want to call it. But, yeah, it's hard. It is hard, but I quit cold turkey, and I did it for a reason.
Yeah. Well, at least, as you said, 10% of the adult population, and we're under 10%.
We're under 10%.
These education programs must be doing something right.
They're working, you know, and it's just give a call, give it a shot, and if it doesn't work this time, maybe you'll call in 6 months and try it again.
Right, you could keep trying.
And you could keep trying, yes.
Okay, when we come back, there are bills that they're looking at on state level.
Yes.
To change smoking laws that you cannot smoke even in casinos. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about marijuana and these Delta 8 products, which are extremely bad.
Yeah, grab a cup of coffee or some fresh water when you come
Don't grab a cigarette. We'll be right back.
No cigarettes. Welcome back to the girls. We're a smoke-free zone, and we're hoping to spread that across the country because we're with Eileen Panzarella, and she's telling us about all of the new things that the state is going to try and pass some bills to make it impossible to smoke in more places, which is great. So more restriction means more people are sort of being forced into a corner to know that they're the minority, that they can't smoke.
So back in 2008, the Clean Indoor Air Act was passed in Pennsylvania, and that made all the restaurants smoke-free. And bars, certain bars, if they have food sales, right? So private clubs were exempt from it. The members could vote if they wanted it or not, and casinos were also exempt from it. And then vaping wasn't even around then, so vaping language wasn't even put into the bill, into the Clean Indoor Air Act. So there is a push in Harrisburg to update that act, and we're looking at trying to get the casinos to now be smoke-free. There's the regular bill says private clubs, bars, all restaurants, casinos will be smoke-free and vape-free on that. So that is what's going on out there.
That's huge, and I'm sure there's pushback from the casinos on it.
There is pushback. There's pushback from the casinos. So there is an amendment that would provide that the casinos have to have just a smoke-free room. It couldn't be on the main floor, like the main area. They would need a smoking room.
I was going to say.
Yes, a smoking room where only you could smoke in that room with its own ventilation system, separate from the rest of the casino.
I've seen that at an airport once. They had a smoking room. But it kills me when you go to a casino, if you want to, and it's like non-smoking section and then the smoking section, and you're like, the smoke just filters through the air.
Well, they do that because they get away with the law that way. I don't think it's necessarily to keep non-smokers safe. But this is more or less to keep more employees safe.
Yeah,
because they're stuck in smoke all day if that is their profession.
Yeah, and really that's why the original bill was passed, to protect the restaurant workers who had an 8-hour shift. Yeah. They were breathing in hundreds of cigarettes and that. So we, moved that and we got that passed, and now we're trying to protect the casino workers.
I want to talk about this medical marijuana card and how, because this fries me, that you get the medical marijuana card and then people abuse it because they think, oh, I have my card. Let me smoke before work. Let me drive.
First of all, how do you get one?
At work.
What is it for? Who is it given to and why?
Well, the state has a list of illnesses that if you have one of those, you could qualify for the medical marijuana.
Now, it will work, but it's how they use the the marijuana has to be bought from
the dispensary.
It can't just be marijuana you buy off the street.
Oh, no, I understand that part, and I think most people do, that you need to show that card and whatever. But getting qualified for that, number one. And then number two is, how often can they use it? And there's restrictions on it, on how much they could buy at one time, so they don't become a distributor to people who
And that's
can't.
Documented by the state. When you go in there, they ask your name. It's all through the state, correct?
Yes, they keep a documentation of it, and there are restrictions. Like you can't drive your car, you can't be smoking it or vaping it. You're not allowed to smoke any flower or anything. That's against the law. And so if you have medical marijuana, it's either going to be a tincture, a lotion, or you will vape it. But you're not allowed to vape and drive your car while you're vaping just because you have the medical marijuana card.
Or go to work.
Or go to work high. Many people have, drug policies at their place of work.
Yeah, I've never used anything. So a friend of mine had some CBD oil, so that's not to be confused with this. Is CBD oil different?
So CBDs are part of the marijuana plant, and that's actually where the medical property lies. But then you have THC, which is also part of the plant, and that is your mind-altering drug that's in it.
What about CBD?
CBD is not mind-altering. Okay. It's not going to affect the mind.
Okay.
That's where you'll see more of the medical
so
qualities.
That you can buy like in a store for like gummies to sleep.
You could buy CBDs, yes, in the store. But then you could also at dispensaries, really the CBDs are what people should be looking for.
Got it.
But we're finding out that they don't, not all of them want that. They want the THC, which is, and in the beginning, the state, they weren't allowing any vaping of it, but they changed that to increase sales, unfortunately.
So marijuana became really, really popular after the Vietnam War. All of the drugs started coming into our country, and then there was Woodstock with the whole big thing. So the people who are adults now, like my age, the marijuana maybe that they used to go to a big concert, whatever, then, what's the difference now? I mean, there has to be a difference because they're nuts.
There's a big difference. So if you are in your 40s, 50s, 60s, and you smoke marijuana as a teenager in college, that marijuana doesn't exist today. That THC levels were less than 3% back then. So you might say like, hey, I smoke marijuana, I'm perfectly fine, I'm successful, nothing bad, and then you're looking at it today, we're looking at 30% to 90% THC levels in the marijuana that's being grown today. So it's a totally different drug. And I think that's something parents really need to know, because a lot of parents might be like, yeah, they're only using marijuana. It's not the marijuana that was from the past.
So it now became a gateway drug.
Yes.
Because before it wasn't.
And that's so, and really, we've always called it, people in the profession, we know it is a gateway drug because every client that comes through our agency started with marijuana. Mm-hmm. So it's not a gateway drug for everybody, but it is for, for people, no one wakes up and says, I'm going to try heroin today, and never tried any other drug before that.
Gotcha.
So it's somebody who's looking for something that either has an emotional problem, wants to try it, wants to get high, whatever, coping skills, and so they might try marijuana, and then if that, what does it do, wear off or not help them as much, and then they're looking for something else.
Yes, people that move on, that the drug...
They're not getting the same feeling from
yes,
that.
so they look for something stronger. But really, the teens, unfortunately, that's what they're using to cope now. Teens are using, marijuana, THC to cope, and, they're not learning coping skills. Because when do you learn them? When you're teenagers. That's when you learn how to deal with life and everything. And so many of them are just hiding it under THC now, and they're not learning other coping skills, and that's a big fear we have.
Is that Delta 8 that you were talking about?
Well, regular THC, because they're buying it on the street, they're not getting medical marijuana, so they're buying it illegally.
Okay.
But then there's also this Delta 8, which is being sold in gas stations, and little convenience stores legally.
Oh, I see the signs. Yes. Is that what that is?
So what happened in 2018, there was a farm bill passed on a federal level that allowed the production of hemp, and which is made from the marijuana plant. And a loophole in that farm bill is Delta 8 THC. The one we think of is Delta 9 THC. That's illegal. Delta 8 THC is a byproduct, and there was no law against it. So with that 2018 Farm Bill, that became a loophole that Delta 8 could now be sold. The thing is, they are manipulating it and making it, the THC, stronger. So people are going in thinking they're buying something mild, and it's really a powerful THC.
And at what age do they have to show identification to get that?
You should be 21, but we know that stores are selling it to under 21 because we know kids in high schools are getting it.
Do you think COVID had something to do with these kids not having coping skills?
Well, I think that was a big issue.
Isolation.
Yes, the isolation and all of that, and the messaging they're hearing. Pennsylvania allowed medical marijuana for anxiety. We're one of the few states. There's no research backing that, but it was really to increase sales, because they wanted to sell more, so they said add anxiety, and then that boosted sales. But there's no proof of it, but teens hear that. Teens are hearing, this is good for anxiety. I have anxiety, let me use it. And it's backfiring and that, because the teen brain is totally different from an adult brain, and that up to like age 25.
The maturity level and the making of good decisions.
Yes, because that's the last part of your brain to develop, and it's only starting in their teenage years, and they're actually interfering with that development.
So they make poor choices, and that's what Pathways is all about.
Yeah.
People who make poor choices.
Well, you guys are doing a good job. I know you work hard to get the word out, and like I said, there's people that come through it successfully and have quit smoking, and that just leads to another person quitting smoking and another, and so we just keep doing it.
We just keep
10%. We got to get that down.
And that's just one of the things that you tackle there. It's all kind of abuse, substance abuse and whatever.
Yes, no matter what it is, if it's alcohol, opioids, meth, is something we're seeing more of nowadays, yes.
So there's free help out there, so you need to give them a call. All the information's on the screen. Everything's confidential.
Yes.
And you can go as many times as you like.
And I want to thank all of our sponsors, because without them, of course, we wouldn't have any shows, right, Jeannine? And we have Smith Floral, who provides our beautiful flowers for us all the time. Have a beautiful weekend, everybody. See you next time.